Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. As usual, life can be little bit miserable and a little bit dark, so we're here to bring you a little bit of joy and a little bit of light. I'm Bradley, joined by Stu. How you doing, Stu? I can't think of anything punchy today.
Yeah, no, I'm not very punchy. I'm okay though, I think. You say whenever your voice starts rising like that, it's always kind of like, am I sure about what I'm saying? But yeah, no, I think I'm
I
right.
mean, the world's on fire, that's part and parcel now.
I have to block that out just to get through the day, to be quite honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say we've got now comedians you didn't respect are sexual predators, as was an open secret. Comedians you did respect, apparently a bit turfy as well nowadays as well. And yeah, hey, it's all fun and good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, wonderful. All the people that you respected and admired can't be trusted. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, if the one lesson I've taken in life is just don't like anyone. Just it's best that way, appreciate them at the time, but don't actually go, oh, do you know what? I really like that person.
Yeah.
It's easier.
It really is, yeah. It's best to just go, okay, well, you're on a kind of temporary, okay, you've got like a pass to Stew Village,
Yeah.
but it expires at the end of the day and you have to renew it every day kind of a thing.
Yeah. It's, Russell Brand, first of all, I don't accept what Russell Brand has done. It's scummy, it's wrong, and I'm glad he's being called out for it. Catherine Ryan is an absolute hero for a start, and deserves all the respect she gets. But yeah, it kind of like, yeah, well, that makes sense. But Richard Ayoade, it's just kind of like, no. You was meant to be one of the safe bets.
I know, yeah.
Despite being married into the Fox family, but you was one of the safe ones.
As soon as I heard that, like months or maybe a year ago, about who he's married to, it's what
Just waiting.
Yeah, just waiting. It's just like, because you can't go, well, I love this person, but their family are basically neo-Nazis. Oh, that's okay. Do you know what I mean? It's gotta come round and about sometime.
It's I thought maybe he was going to be the Billy Piper of the whole thing. Maybe she's still a decent person. She absolutely despises that wretched Lawrence Fox type person. And yeah, I don't know, Stu. Just as long as like Bob Mortimer's okay, I don't think I could cope with Bob Mortimer going off the deep end, or even James Acaster. He's good egg.
Yeah. Bob's got a season pass at the moment, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way he talks though, if he was to come out with some Nazi rubbish or turfy stuff, it'd still be jovial because he's got that kind of voice.
Yeah, he'd probably get away with it for a very long time until somebody called him
before
on.
you realised, he's John Cleese, he's another one. It's just like Ricky Gervais, who seemed to be like fully left and then decided to go off the deep end. It's Jesus. Oh, Stu.
I know.
Do you know where there's no like sexual predators and turfs and racists and people with bad morals?
I genuinely don't know. Go on.
Video games.
Video games.
No, that's wrong.
No,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, oh dear. Okay. But anyway, video games, Stu. This mythic world we live in.
Ooh.
What game do you want to talk about, Stu?
Mythic Force.
Mythic Force? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, no, Myth Force, you're right.
Myth-Force, yeah.
Well, that's had a big impact on me then.
Yeah.
So, yes, I've been playing a game called Myth Force.
So have I.
Yeah, I know you have. It's a funny one. So, first off, the thing that everyone will notice and talk about, which is the graphics, have been done in they go, Saturday morning cartoon from the 80s style, but it's even more specific than that. It's Don Bluth animation style. So, think of Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. It's that kind of look. And that's on the characters, and the backgrounds are kind of 80s cartoony as well, but a little bit more sort of regular and I hesitate to say it, but generic. And it's very much, like Gauntlet, but in 3D, but also a roguelike. And yeah, it's pretty much from that description. That's all I could draw out of the game, really. So it looks very appealing. The online seems to work pretty well because obviously it's got like drop in and drop out multiplayer, and yeah, you kind of you build up your stuff and go back in and do things with slightly more improved equipment. And you know me, I'm not a big fan of that anyway. And but taking it on its merits and not being mean, does it work as a kind of multiplayer roguelike, which is a genre that I basically never touch? Kind of. It's ironic that it looks so lovely. Well, at points, but generally, it looks really lovely. And I was playing it on the Steam Deck with like everything turned down to low, so it run at 60 frames. Still looks lovely. But what's going on in the world is very, very bland and very normal, and there was nothing in it that felt original or enticing or, oh my God, that gripped me kind of a thing. And you really need that. There are so many of these things around, and even though I've not played many of them, it still felt like some old ground that I've trod over lots and lots of times. And like my final thought on the subject, really, because it's not one I can talk about for very long, is that it reminds me a lot of a VR game that I was playing called, I think it's called Until You Fall. I'll have to double check, but I think it's called Until You Fall, which is exactly the same game, basically, but it's in VR. And just that immediate thing of you actually swinging your sword rather than pressing a button to do your sword elevates that material. And that is a basic game, but having it in VR elevates it to be much more immersive and much more kind of, well, at least I'm physically judging my distance and swinging my arm to do things. And, this game, it's not even got that. So you kind of scratch your head and go, why bother? Or at least, why not inject something that's a little bit different and innovative and a bit of a challenge to the status quo? I don't know what you thought. What did you think?
Yeah, I just generally thought it was alright, and that's about it. That's about all I could get out of it. The Saturday morning cartoon thing, I was like all in for. The problem I have is I don't think it went all in itself enough. That the gameplay is fairly generic. It made me long for what I still consider an underrated game in the genre, which was just unfortunately it came out at the wrong time, is Battleborn. It felt like it was Battleborn, but a lighter version of that, which was a shame. And the moving from like area to area, it didn't feel like there was enough going on. It felt like it wanted to, maybe it was waiting on a license and it never got the license and they just didn't know what to do with itself. Could this have done with the Dungeons and Dragons license? Could it have done with the He-Man license? Or gone the other way and get like the Mask license or Visionaries or something like that? One of the actual Saturday morning cartoons, or gone for a Smash Brothers like mashup of it all, or just gone right in for it. But yeah, the gameplay was okay. It was fine enough to find a game, and it was fine while it was on. But yeah, it just felt bland. Overall, there was nothing making me go, oh, I've got to put this on again. I definitely want to play this one tomorrow, or oh, I can't wait, I don't want to put this down and do this, I want to play some more of it. It just didn't grab me as I wanted it, really expected it to, in all fairness, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's it's a genre that needs to be very, very strongly considered before people start using it. I always feel, because that kind of repetitive roguelike, it really depends on your players having the patience to do the same things over and over again with only incremental rewards. And I remember in the 90s when everything was just a side-scrolling action platformer and people were thoroughly bored of it. But the worst that you could say about them is that they were, competent and, just like other stuff. Yeah. But even then, and there's a lot of similarities between that period of time and this period of time in terms of the way that the games are structured. But the big difference, the huge difference is that even in the likes of that, the one that always sticks in my head, and I think in a lot of people's at the time, was Judge Dredd, where it's just like every licensed game, even if it didn't fit, was just a side-scrolling platformer, and everyone was sick of it, and Judge Dredd was just like the last one that anyone.
And I
paid
really
attention
hated
to.
that Schindler's List one. That was, that was a bit of a dull.
Yeah, you're forever chasing after that girl in the red dress.
Oh no,
thing.
I know. I tell you what though, there was that really good one where you kind of got to the end of the level, you had to make these really hard choices, like Sophie's Choice, the action platformer.
Yeah. Do you know there'll be a
Which path you
give it a
took.
couple of years and there'll be one of those that'll exist. But
I want someone to be listening to go, Sophie's Choice platformer. I'm on that.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I was all I was going to say really on the last of that is that they, at least with those, they respected your time. It's just like, you
Yeah.
could complete them in an afternoon, whereas these things demand so much of your time and attention. So yeah, it's kind of a
Yeah. And the other thing that got me is like one of the selling points I have on it is like it's an ever changing like world. So like apparently everyone's meant to be different. It didn't feel like that to me.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, and so the two biggest quotes was nothing felt different. It felt like the same thing over and over. Which if you're gonna do that, just go with that. That's fine. But also like the melee attacks just had no inertia behind them, or they didn't feel
Yes, yeah.
physical. So I was going up to like skeletons, and I was hitting them with my sword, and it was like, have I actually hit one and damaged it? I don't know. So there was no connect in the game. There was no connection with things, and you had to use your powers, and they fell off at points, and it's all competent. If you used to take every little bit of the game and go, right, yeah, it does this, and it does it as it should. It does this, it does it as it should, and it does this, and technically it does this, and it looks so. It also has all the right things, but as a package, it just felt very I've spoke about it, and I'm probably done with it now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree on the hit reactions as well. They're just not there, and you really got to have that down pat if you're expecting people. All they're going to do is wander around and hit stuff, basically. Apart from throwing the odd magic missile, it's got to be good. It's got to be fun. Look at Destiny. That combat loop continuously fun, no matter how many hours you play of it. So yeah, disappointment really.
The last question I'll ask you, now obviously Saturday Morning Cartoons is their influence. If I said to you, who's the main character of Thundercats, who's, name me someone from He-Man who's not He-Man, you'd be able to name them. You'd be able to name the characters because they've got a personality. If I said to you now, without looking it up, name one of the heroes in Mythfuls, could you?
No, because aren't they just called like by their class as well, like Rogue and stuff like that?
No.
Oh, have they actually got names?
Yeah, so
Missed
there's
that.
Victoria, who's a knight. There's Rico, who's a rogue. Maggie, who's a mage. And Hawkins, who is a hunter. They're your four characters. I only know that because I've got their names in front of me right here.
Yeah.
And it was only when I was looking at my notes and I went, oh yeah, the characters had names. That's not really excusable if you go for that Saturday morning cartoon thing.
You got to put character.
Where's my He-Man and my Lion-O,
Yeah. Well, we could end up talking about this disproportionately because it's one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, well we can talk about Saturday morning cartoon, but but the last thing I'll say on the game itself is, I think you could utilize that a bit better if you had stuff like you brought up and punched up the melee fighting, but maybe even drop into a third person view when you do certain moves as well, so you see the character and you feel like you're in the action and you feel like you're in the cartoon. So there's things that could have been done, but anyway, bit disappointing.
Not dreadful, just not memorable in any way, shape or form. Anyway, moving on. I'll do the next one because you've got one more to talk about. I've got two. So I've been playing. Do you know Daytona USA, the video game? You might have heard of it.
I've heard of it. Yeah, actually, I've got a story on that. I'll come back to in a minute. Go on. Go on.
Okay. It's probably more interesting than the game I've been playing.
Probably.
It's not a good week. I've been playing that NASCAR Arcade Rush. Now, did you ever play Mario Kart and then think, do you know what Mario Kart needs? NASCAR. Or did you ever play Daytona and go, do you know what Daytona needs? Mario.
Oh.
Ever done that?
No, funnily enough, no.
No. Yeah, there's a reason those games haven't existed. It doesn't work. NASCAR Arcade Rush. I got it because I thought, a bit of a Daytona itch. I could do, a modern take on Daytona. I'll be up for that. No, this is just a glorified kart racer with a NASCAR skin, and much like that previous game, Saturday morning Mythforce. There we go. It's just unremarkable. It's fine. It does things. Technically, it's an arcade racer. But yeah, it's a licensed NASCAR game, and it's wow. It's just like, yeah, it's not fast. Like, it's NASCAR, expect some fast to it. It kind of feels plodded in places, and then you can unlock like various different helmets and bodies and loads of things as you go, and the tracks are zany and crazy, and no, everyone, when you played Daytona, the main track everyone played was the oval, because it was just an oval, but the racing was fun. This gets rid of the oval and has loads of like weird and wonderful tracks in different worlds that you'd expect in a kart racer. But where's the fun? The fun's just not there. And yeah, it's just not great in any way, shape or form. I don't think it looks nice. Daytona's what, 25 years old? Older than that? When did it come out?
91, was it? 91?
Else, it's actually 25.
No,
nearly 30 years old.
I'll have to look it up.
Jesus,
it might be 93. Let me have a look. I'll have
28 years old.
You
look it up. What I could tell you. But yeah, it's kind of got the free to play aspect. There's all these different hats and helmets you can get. I don't see the point when you're inside of a car. What's the point in giving your character helmets that you only get to see for a few seconds when you've won the race?
Yeah.
What? It's no point whatsoever. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like they got a license, just went, we got to do something with it, and didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And usually I can find something. I go, do you know what? Yeah, fair enough. I can find this about the game, and I like this about the game. To figure, there's just nothing. There's nothing. I could play Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, which is 10 years old, and get much more value out of that. I could play Daytona, I could play Virtua Racing, I could play one of the other sort of like Virtua Racing clones that have hit out over the last few years. Even the sort of ones that aren't that great have got something. This just has nothing. It feels like a free-to-play game that's taken out the free-to-play mechanics, or the actual free-to-play bullshit, to then just leave it as a full price game without the free to play add-ons, but leaving the actual bits you get from it in the game, and it just feels disjointed in so many ways. And yeah, it's not very good at all.
No, God, sounds rubbish. Yeah, 93 for Daytona, so that's 30 years.
So we are 30 years.
But
yeah, get that.
That brings up a really good point, actually, and ties back to Mythforce, in that Sega just knew in that way of like, you've got to have important bits of feedback to the player, to the gamer, to make something fun and exciting, and you've got to do it and reinforce it. And like they did it with Daytona with just leaving little things like, the back end
rolling start.
Yeah, rolling start. Yeah, the silliness. The back end shimmy of the car.
Yeah,
that you don't think of it at the time. You're like, oh, there's a back end shimmy. You don't think about it, but then you think back and you're like, oh yeah, that was like a dynamic little action that was always there.
Yeah,
and it was always, it's only Daytona that does it. And you got,
it had life. I always remember, like, I would always, if ever I knock something, and it's where things like Daytona stick with you. Say I walk into a wall accidentally or something like that, right, or door frame. I will turn around and I'll go, take it easy. It's the first race of the season, just internally to myself, because I remember that from Daytona. Yeah. And you always get the that's just always there. This has got nothing. I started this first race and I went roll, and it didn't, and it was like, oh. I know it shouldn't be doing rolling start because that's safe, but there was nothing.
Yeah, think of something.
I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Go play those games or watch a YouTube video. Spend half an hour of your day when you're in development looking at old arcade games and seeing what it was that drew people in. That's how you make your money, man.
Yeah. And yeah, I thought, right, but this is the other thing as well. I thought, do you know what? I got this for review. Let's have a look. if this is like 7-8 quid, fair enough. Nice budget title. Someone might find some work. Ready for this, Stu?
Probably not, but go on.
Without discount, it is $39.99.
Oh my goodness me. That is insane.
And there's DLC. So you could get the Project X edition for £52.76, which includes some paint schemes, some rims, some themed drivers. Again, the themed drivers are inside the cars. Yeah. Sponsorships, FX packages for an extra. It's like that's over 40 quid. No, so it's whatever they was thinking here. You don't shoot, you know me. I don't like being horrible to a game. It's one of my faults when it comes to doing reviews, but this is bad in every conceivable way, which is unfortunate because I was in the market for a new arcade racer, and this isn't it.
Nope. Doesn't sound like it.
But just before you get to your little Daytona story, as an aside, I have also recently picked up, I know you don't do EA, but I picked up Grid Legends because it was really cheap and I thought I'd treat myself for my birthday.
Yeah.
Really good. Got that for a tenner. That's really good and really fun. Nice. Because Codemasters knew how to make Simcade games. Play that instead. You can get 20 quid and get all the DLC for it and everything, and it runs absolutely perfectly on the Steam Deck. So, this runs perfectly on the Steam Deck. It's not anymore, though, because it's never going back on my bloody Steam Deck.
No, on that subject, I will buy them secondhand as long as I know that EA won't get any money. So I could try and pick up... Did it come out on PS5 or is it PS4, I suppose, isn't it?
It's on, or Xbox Series. You could probably get it. It's worth it. It's a fun game. It's as close to the Grid and TOCA games as you're going to get. Better than the 2018 version anyway. Yeah. So, and it's got FMV. Really good FMV. Well, I don't know why I'm now reviewing Grid Legends, but it's got like FMV documentary style bits in between, which is really nicely done. Cool.
I'll check out a second-hand copy, as I'm going to with Jedi Survivor. I'll get a second-hand copy of that, especially now it's got a 60 frames patch. But no, this is old stuff. So yes. We're done.
What's your Daytona story?
Daytona. Let's go away. So I was going away to the seaside. I live by the seaside, but I went to another part of the seaside last weekend, and they had Daytona cabs, and I was like, "How? Oh my god! How have they managed to keep Daytona cab?" No, got up close, and I didn't have time to spend a lot of time, but they're new. So they're the literally the old game, the original game, but with LCD screens in them, and they looked like the cabinets were like new and fresh as well. So I'm assuming that they're just a recreation, but with flat screens, and that's kind of amazing.
Well, tell me.
So that was at Llandudno.
Oh, Llandudno. Okay. There's a really nice country pub in Llandudno, where they got all the sheep outside. I think they murdered a sheep or whatever it is outside. They might not do that, but it's a really lovely little place. There's a lasagna there that was really lovely when Lucas was but a baby.
Ah, very good. It's a lovely place.
But when I come up, we're going to play Daytona, Stu.
Yeah, let's go away.
Let's go away. Yes, take it easy. Game over. Yeah. What have you? Please tell me you've been playing something better than those Car Arcade Rush, because this isn't a very positive episode so far.
No, so much better. It's not even funny, because I've been playing one of the best games ever made, and that is Portal 2 in VR.
Okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, so as you probably know, and the audience know, on PC, there's loads and loads and loads of community mods to get games into VR, and basically anything that's over about sort of 10 years old is fairly safe to quite easily port into VR, because they're not demanding games, so when you double or triple what's required for them, they can still run in VR, which is obviously what you need to do, because you're basically running a game just as a little PSA. Obviously, when you play in VR, whatever game you're playing, you're running it twice because it has to display to both screens, and therefore so basically you're running a game twice, and you've got to run it in a very high frame rate so it doesn't make you vomit everywhere. So you're running two games, very high frame rate, and yeah, so it's good when you can pick up older games and just, boost them up. And yeah, the latest one is Portal 2. And Portal 2 is one of the greatest video games of all time.
Yeah.
You can keep your arguments about whether 1 is better than 2. You can shove those up your whatever, because
As a package. Let's go as a package.
you can might as well just either go as a package or just say both are classics. It doesn't matter. Portal 2 is in my top 100 of all time, and the VR mod is absolutely amazing. So obviously, like when people were starting to make VR games, like full VR games, they were learning the ropes, and they had loads of different control methods and comfort level things and settings, and the modders have kind of taken all of those, gathered them all up into their arms, and made, put them into any VR mod that they do. So you're now getting stuff that uses all of that accumulated knowledge to turn these old games into something not completely new, but totally boosted in every regard. And I'm not sure that anyone would try and make an argument that a game like Portal doesn't have to have a VR version. Do you know what I mean? It's just like there's anything that's like that is going to benefit from it, and it doesn't detract from the flat version. It doesn't mean you have to play the VR version, but if you're into it and it won't make you sick, then it's absolutely amazing. And it gives you this other level of appreciation of stuff when you can just like walk up to things and stare at them, or your brain does this thing when you play in again, looking at a TV, looking at a monitor, where you peripherally take in what's in the background, and it forms like a gestalt. It's like what they call mise en scène in film. It's like the whole artistic view is kind of built up by the impression that it gives you in the background. But when you're in VR, there are often sections and areas and places that you actually inhabit. And I was talking like in our Q&A about loving liminal spaces and how unusual spaces or what are classed as boring can become fascinating. And it's like that in VR. I found myself standing on this walkway in Portal that just had this view of this little section of tubing and colours and lights. The colours, man. And I was just transfixed by it because I'd never seen it before, and it had that Valve attention to detail that you just don't really know. It's just background when you're playing in normal 2D. So it takes a classic game and it gives you a completely different perspective on it, and also it makes you feel like you're flying through the air when you do like the portal jumps. So it's kind of astonishing, and it doesn't take anything away from the original developer's vision. It only adds to it. It uses technology that is not being exploited properly at the moment, in my view, VR, and properly exploits it. And then, it's just one of those things that's absolutely amazing to me. Stunning.
I have questions.
Go on.
So, firstly, are you still playing the Steam version? And can you play in VR with someone else in 2D?
Good questions. So, first off, yes, it's the Steam version. There's a free mod that you just drop into the into the executable folder. You have to own the original copy. It'll only work through Steam, and it'll only work through Steam VR. So yes, you have to do it legally. I think.
I mean, everyone should own it anyway because it's about £1 these days.
Exactly. And even if you paid quote unquote full price, I think it's like £8 when it's not on sale. But yes, yeah.
And I think I've bought it about 3 times over on different systems. So
Yeah, I have definitely had it twice. To answer the other question, no, unfortunately not. Co-op isn't working yet, but I would be surprised if it didn't come along at some point.
We shall make a date. Yeah. I now get a hankering to go back to Portal 2.
Yeah.
Because I've not done that for a very long time.
No, neither had I, and it's so good.
It is. It really, really is. So, my other question, because that was just one question previously. The portals. How does your brain react to the portals in VR? Because that feels to me, at the best of times, sometimes my brain goes, how's that possible? How I'm going in there, like, that bit, I'm not quite sure how they work. In VR, that feels like that would absolutely wreck my head.
I don't know. I think I'm not sure how much of this is because I've played both games through a lot and therefore have a good sense of what they were doing and how they thought. Because obviously, like, you can only shoot on those surfaces covered in moon rock, and like you get used to seeing them when you walk into a room, so you know approximately where they are in space. But I've not had any trouble with it. But I'm not sure how much is that. Yeah, because I already kind of know the way their brains work. You might have an issue with it, but I found that being in VR, because you have so much of a better sense of your current space than where you're going to be, it actually felt a little bit more natural. Although, obviously, the physics of it can make you feel a bit sick. You have to have really good VR legs when you're using the portals. But I thought in finding my location, I think it only worked to the benefit.
Oh, okay, interesting. I'm not sure I'd be able to cope with it. Well, I haven't got a VR headset, or one that will work with Steam anyway at the moment. I probably won't ever get one because I only got one eye that only partly works. So anyway, with that, but yeah, I'm glad. It sounds fun.
Well, yeah, and that brings up a very good point. When I say, it's so good for the game and it's really good to engage with and blah blah blah, that is dependent upon accessibility, whether your eyesight is something that can deal with that. Things like if you have vertigo, I can't imagine VR is a very nice experience.
Cool.
Just basically it's designed around, VR is always just designed around a very specific set of abilities that some people have and others don't, and therefore the way that you engage with it is always going to be different depending on where your accessibility level is. So that's something to bear in mind. But with it being free, if you can't play it, in VR, you probably don't own VR, so you don't have to get it. And even if you did get it, because you have got VR and it didn't work for you, it's still free. So it's kind of like it's a win-win, because if you end up just then playing Portal 2 on a regular screen, you're still a winner.
Yeah. What about if I strap 2 Steam Decks to my head?
Well, it'd probably get very warm, but then again, so does VR. So yeah, I don't think that would work.
Yeah. Oh no! I've got to play some Portal 2. I'm gonna install Portal 2 on the Steam Deck and play through a bit again because it's so damn good. I bet
it's great on the deck as well.
And Stephen Merchant's still okay, I think.
As far as we know, yes.
All good. I better get it played just in case.
Yeah. He's got a day pass.
Yeah, he's got a day pass because he didn't exactly jump to the defence of his quote unquote mate. So yeah, you're okay, Stephen, at the moment. Just if you can leave it a couple of years so I can get some Portal 2 in, will be good.
Yeah, he has got a very, very harsh sense of humour in his comedy.
Yeah. I'm okay with that because you've got to know how you can be harsh, but you've got to understand how to punch.
I know.
The likes of the Gervais don't know how to punch. Anyway, moving on from Portal 2 and Ricky Gervais being a dickhead. One more game from me. It's just a short one. I've been playing Byte Links. BYTE Links. It's not the new Atari Lynx made by a new company or anything. It's a fast-paced real-time strategy game with no units.
That sounds intriguing.
It is very intriguing. So you actually, the way you do it is you get this circuit. So you start off and you get this like electric circuit type thing. And basically you have to build this circuit to gain control of areas essentially and allow like a signal to go through this circuit, and then you can place things on the circuit that can attack other things to try and generally take over a map. And you expand, and like yours is like blue and the opposing one is red, and you use certain different things to create gaps within the circuits, like the opposing circuit, so you can then take over that area. And basically you expand. It's about expanding and building, expanding further, taking out enemy positions, etc. And it's almost like, in a way, do you know the game or like Pipe Mania, where like you've got to get from one side, you've got to get from one part of a map to the other by connecting up pipes.
Yeah.
It essentially does that, but in a not like using pipes and stuff like that. So you kind of have to go through, and you need to make connections, and then how you make connections depends how much of the area you can take out, what other machines you can take over, because you now control that area with your network and things like that. It's just about tactical building. And although you're not building units, you can build some almighty machines, I think is the best way to put it, that will go and do absolute tons of damage. And go like absolutely hell for leather to take things out. But at the same time, a little turret gun or something that you've got to go past can wipe out your entire network because you've not realised it, and it's just started doing little attacks to part of your network, and it breaks. You've got to go and then rediscover your way around the map to then build a different network and gather power from somewhere else, and then attack this little thing that's doing you damage. So you've got loads of different tactical elements to it, and it's just this top-down 2D, almost like, I want to say PlayStation 1 era top-down graphics in a way. It's not super high-res HD or anything like that, but it's not 16-bit either. It reminds me of like a PS1 era RTS in terms of its style. And it's just fun. It's just fun. And I'm not very good at RTSs, in all fairness, but there's something about this with like making the network connections that just make it work for me and allows me to feel like I'm strategizing in ways that I couldn't do in a Command and Conquer properly or something like that. And yeah, just a really, really fun game. Don't know much else what to say about it, really. It comes out, there's a demo out, and it comes out on the 12th of October. And I don't think there was an embargo. I'm just double checking that now. Just in case I've just spoke about that. And there's an embargo. Here's no embargo. It doesn't say anything about embargoes. And there's a demo out. I've been playing it. It's really, really good. Check out the demo, Stu. I don't know if you like RTSs or not, but check out the demo. It's fun.
I sometimes do. Tactical RPGs I do like. Yeah. I might have a look at it. Yeah. It sounds interesting anyway. It sounds like it's a bit different.
I would. It's only it's like a couple of 100 megabytes. And I don't know what the demo's got. I just saw it and went, yeah, it's interesting. Looks intriguing. And I went, oh, no units. I always lose track of the units. That's my problem. I play it and I go, right, there's a unit. They go, group your units. And I'm like, which ones do I group? So I leave them all separate, or I do my little groups, and I go, where's that little group gone? They've gone. And I've got to find them and they're dead. And I'm like, oh. And then I find them. I'll find the one who made a unit. Go back to the other ones. They're dead. I can't control all my units. I can barely control my own voice. So, it's no wonder I can't control the different units. But there are no units.
Cool.
Have I mentioned there's no units?
You might have said once or twice. Yeah. Units.
But yeah, really fun. Good to see someone try something a bit different in what is, 40-year-old genre now? Something like that?
Yeah, easily.
So yeah, good on them. It's not the best game ever. I'm not saying this is going to change your life or anything like that. It's just fun. Compared to what I have been playing, I'm all for it. It's my game of the week, behind Portal 2 because it's Portal 2. But,
of course,
it's better than NASCAR and Mythos.
Oh yeah.
But so was the last dump I had. So
harsh but fair.
And it's harsh on Mythos. In all fairness, it tried. Mythos, it just didn't hit the mark. NASCAR though, Jesus Christ, that's bad.
Fair play.
If we take anything from this podcast, it's NASCAR Arcade Rush is god awful.
Yep, won't be one I'm getting, I can tell you that. Right, do you want to do a couple of Q&As before we finish off?
Let's hit a couple of quick ones.
Nice, let's do it. So, here's one. Do you like or not like surprises?
I despise surprises. I like to know what's coming. I can't cope with them. I remember, so very, very quick story with regard to surprises. We was at, when I first moved up to Liverpool, my first birthday living up there, not my first birthday, it was like my 25th birthday, I want to say it was. I'd only been with Lo for a very short amount of time. And she was doing a birthday. She was like, we'll get Brad a cake. I think it's like Frankie and Benny's. He's like, we'll get Brad a cake. We'll get him to bring it out. And my mum was there as well. She just went, no, don't do that. don't do that. Won't like
Right.
it. She was like, no, God, we'll do it. It'll be a nice surprise. Like, no, don't do that. Brad will get up and leave. I've done it before. I can't do surprises. Oh, no. Hate
Fair
them.
play. Yeah. No, I totally get that. I never used to, but I've kind of grown to like them over the years, which is a bit strange. But I think it's because like I get bored pretty easily, and I like disruptions in routine. I like things to change quite a lot. I find stasis to be kind of, just routine and stuff to be boring. I feel like I need to keep moving forward, and so surprises don't tend to upset me or bother me. I mean, I don't know if I'd say that I like them. I don't know. I suppose I do. Yeah. Well, let's go with that. Yeah, I do like them.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I mean, even when it comes to like nice, like honestly nice ones, like this time last year, pretty much when we got surprised by Missy Bo Kearns giving us, getting us executive travel to the game. That was a really nice surprise. But I spent my entire time instead of going, this is going to be a really lovely thing, getting surprised by it, going, something's going to go wrong, and it's going to go wrong, and I don't like it because we're not there, and something's going to go wrong, and it's just like I can't. Even something that's really really nice, I can't be comfortable around. And yeah, it's just I like to know.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking of quitting, Stu, let me down gently over time.
Okay. I promise I will. Yeah.
Second question: do you mind if I quit?
Yeah. How much notice do you need for me to quit? No.
4 years.
No, I'm not. I promise. But I do have another question. Hopefully, that's not a surprise. And that question is. It's a bit of a weird one, this, but see what you think. In the evening, would you rather visit a relative, watch a movie, or read a book?
I'll watch a movie.
Yeah.
Just watch a movie. It's like, I love my family and everything, and some of my relatives. But yeah, no, in the evening, I'm at home. I don't read because I'm blind, and I've never been one for sitting down and reading. But yeah, watch a movie. You can switch off. You can kind of half watch a movie, half be on your phone, half play a game and loads of other stuff. When you're doing family, you got to give them your attention. When you're reading a book, you got to give that your full attention. Movie, you can do passively because you can put one on that you've seen already. It's just like, I'll just wait to the good bits. So yeah, watch a movie, I think.
Yeah. Same with me. I mean, I read every night, but I can't read when anything else is going on. I can't. If there's music or the telly's on, I can't. So I read in bed before sleep, but I can't read just, as part of a regular evening. I would love to. I see my family pretty damn regularly. I'm seeing them tonight. But I'd love to have a teleporter so I could visit other relatives more often. That would be great.
Yeah, see, the worst one was always Christmas Day. And we generally let the kids do what they want Christmas Day because it's about them. Christmas is about kids if you're going to be doing Christmas. But we had to go around midnights for Christmas Day generally, and you couldn't take your toys because you can only take one toy. So if you got like a video game or something, you're like, well, I can't. That's that Christmas win. I can't play my video game round midnights. Yeah. Or the 1 year, like my uncle, he had a Game Boy, and he had like tennis with it and Tetris and golf and Super Mario Land, all with his Game Boys, like 1991, I think he got that.
Yeah,
might have been 1990, but it was around that time. He didn't get it like 89. It was that slight bit later, and I had a go at for saying something stupid because I was a child. I mean, I was like, well, I don't say stupid things, you don't know how to join in. I was like, okay then. So like, uncle, can I play your Game Boy? Yeah, of course you can play the Game Boy. And they're going, well, look, all he's doing, he's got his head stuck in the game in the video game, and sort of like he's not joining in at all. It's like, what do I do? Is it time to come home yet? Is it time to go home? Yeah. And then getting told it's disrespectful because you want to go home. So yeah, you kind of get that with family. So we don't do like Christmas. We just do whatever the hell we want. And then see my mum at some point. My mum gets it. She knows what it was like going to my nan's and stuff. And I see my mum when I can. Usually looking down where all the escape exits are and that.
Yeah. How can I make the fastest exit possible? Yeah. Cool.
With that, I've not even been going on too much in this last bit, so no. I've already shut up, Stu.
Yeah.
in my world. So, yeah, I'll shut up now.
Yeah, by your standards, you definitely had already show up. Yeah. There's that's a good way to...
There's levels.
There are levels, yeah. There are levels with all of us. Yeah, it varied with relatives. Some of them were kind of recognise that kids are kids and they want to do their own thing. And more than that if they were allowed to do their own thing, that they'll enjoy themselves and then they'll have good memories of that. And then when they're older and they are adults, then they will be closer to you because of that. And whereas if you just spend your whole time when they're kids going, you should behave like an adult, then they're not going to bother with you when they grow up. But yes, no, that's sort of beside the point. Well, it's still interesting stuff to hear about. And yeah, that's it from the podcast this week. So as usual, follow us on all the socials. Join us on Discord for a chat if you fancy it. Check out the website. And in the meantime, until next time, stay safe and stay sane.